Thanks everyone for joining. So this is our cmBuilder workshop for Halloween party, right? So as you can see, we are all dressed up over here, and today we are gonna go and cover like one of our biggest uh, features that we've released lately. I'm super excited to show you guys this because it's something that everybody has requested. So probably it's something that's you can affect a lot of the work that you're going to be doing. That's the split geometry tool, right? So I'm going to show a little bit of the examples, when to use that, how to use it, and what are the things to come. And also a very highly requested feature is the multi copy and paste, right? So the ability to just copy several elements at once and then just create your grouping of elements to save some time. I'm going to present a little bit of our new user guide structure, just like a minor change that we did. So like something for people that are bringing in new teammates into cmBuilder, so you can show them how to use the user guide. And we're going to cover a couple of tips and tricks later in the end, right? So a couple housekeeping items. Recording will be available in 24 hours. We have a lot of good workshops already on YouTube. So most of you already know that, I've already seen that. But for new people that are joining right now, you should check them out because it has a lot of good information for you to work fast, right? And become power users of the platform. And you can use the QA and the chat for questions. Javi and Nikan will be here helping you with all of that. Cool. So let's go ahead and start. Split geometry tool. No champagnes, no fireworks, nothing. Come on, Javi. I was expecting more. I'm a princess now. And so now with the split geometry tool, you can import models and use our tool to slice them up to have to create pore breaks, to separate elements by level, to create openings for cranes or separate grouped elements, and even calculate volumes from those new elements, right? So I'm not gonna use the PowerPoint too much over here. I'm gonna jump right into the tool, right? So this is an environment where we're gonna show like a couple of stages of concrete pouring, right? So let's go ahead over here to see like our initial conditions, right? Like what the site looks like. And then we have our site mobilization. We have a couple of elements placed over there. You can see some of our new textures on the zones as well to show like hazardous areas, caution areas, and some very well placed elements over here for logistics and so on. But the main important thing, oh, there's like a lighting post over here that shouldn't be like that. So we can take this guy and we are going to end it at this milestone. Cool. So on the excavation, I'm going to skip the excavation part just because I want to show like more about the split geometry tool, right? So what do we need to do to take like an element, like for example, a slab like this, that it has like the whole shape into one single part, and we want to show the pore breaks, right? So for now, I'm going to isolate the model because it's easier for us to work with just looking at the model, right, without those distractions. So we can take like all of these elements over here, we can hide them, and I can go ahead and focus only on our 3D model. And also for this example, I'm gonna hide the tower facade over here and the tower model, and work mostly on our parking levels, right? So my project schedule over here is showing like different pours for like a specific level, right? So parking level 4 different pours, and so on and so forth for all the 3 other ones. So like if I isolate those levels in here, so if I take like everything else and isolate these, I want to slice this model in a way that I can create my pore breaks. Okay, so let's go ahead and like also check where, starting with our P4. Okay, I want to create like pore breaks in where I want to slice this model here, and then have two slabs over here, isolate this area and isolate this area. So I'm gonna do one pore break first so you can see how it works. Basically, you can start the tool by going over here in buildings. I'm still using the old layout, but with the new layout, you're gonna find like in the same group of buildings, right? So if you click on the split buildings, you can start by selecting which model you're going to split. And then when you click on this and you click on split, you're going to now start the tool. This is how it looks like. You have to select which parts you want to split and which elements you're going to use for that split, right? So we can create these elements by clicking over here and create a line. And you can host this sketch both vertically or horizontally, right? So to make sure that you're keeping that sketch horizontal, you can select over here Z-plane. So regardless of where you click, you're always going to create a sketch that is snapped to the Z-plane. But if you click over here and change it to object, now that sketch will be hosted in whatever angle that surface that you click have it, right? So like if you want to create like horizontal splits, you create a vertical sketch. If you want to create like vertical splits, you create a horizontal sketch. So I'm going to go ahead and create my sketch over here. And then I'm going to do one single line so you can see how this tool works. And let's do one single line like this very weird line, just so to show like how it's going to look like. And you're going to see that splitting element over there, right? So this splitting element, you can now, after that, you can select which objects to split. So you can select those objects from the 3 structure, or you can simply click on that object in here. And let me also get these walls. And when I hit confirm, the tool is going to take a couple of seconds, and then you're going to see that geometry split right now. So before, when I clicked on this slab, it was all combined into one single part. But now when I click on it, I can see that that slab is sliced in different stages, right? So this is just the first example of how this tool works that I wanted to show you guys. But I want to show now like how would you work that with that in a couple of different concepts, okay? Just so we can dive deeper on it. So I'm gonna go in like this menu of my split geometry will show over here like all the models that I have available, and I can see over here in the bottom which ones I have already applied a split to. So I'm gonna go ahead and edit the split, and I'm gonna clear my splitting geometry because I now want to create this splitting geometry the way that I actually want to define this, right? So just one thing to keep in mind is that whenever you create a line like this, let's say that I create a small line like this one, where like I don't go all the way to the end. If I confirm this split, what happens is that this line, it will get extended and then it will cut all the way through it. Like the way that this tool works is that we take these lines and we create a plane with it, and that plane extends all the way to the end. And then the parts that you select on the split, let's say this slab over here, we create a bounding box to understand what is the limit of that geometry. And then we take the slicing element and we take that element, we slice all the way through it, right? So there is a way for us to interrupt this line to not go all the way to the end. And basically, we just need to make sure that this line, we can create kind of like a curve, like a L shape like this. So when you hit confirm and you now create this L shape, you're going to see that the line is not going to go all the way through. It's just going to curve and like do this way, right? So this is a great way for you to create more customized splits. And I'm going to show now like how would you use that in real life, right? And we're going to go ahead and edit this line again and restart it. So if I wanted to create these splits the way that I'm describing right now, like basically I want to like create a split over here. I want to create a split over here, and I want to create a split over here, right? So again, if I create these lines like this line over here is going to extend all the way and it's going to cut this slab too. If I create this line like this, it's going to extend all the way and it's going to slice the other slab, right? So that's not what I want. I want to interrupt that split to create more customized ways. So that way we are going to go ahead and we're going to take this line and I'm going to snap it to the face of this concrete. And instead of like interrupting it over here, I'm actually going to create another line over here connected with that one. It's important that these two lines are connected. If they are not connected, like the software would not understand that there is a continuous plane, right? So, and then from here, I'm going to go ahead and snap this line to this face. And I now created my grouping of like this area is separated from this area, right? So to create a second split that is to separate this area from the rest, I'm gonna do head again, like another L shape kind of like structure, and snap it over here and snap it over here. So this second L shape, even though they are kind of like overlapping over here, it's important to have it like that because otherwise my line will go and split all the way to the end over here. Cool. And then I can create like a second one that's going to be this line and this line. And then I can snap this to this wall, snap this to this wall, and then extend all the way to the end. You don't really need to extend it, but like I like it. But like if you want to keep them like your splits just like this, you can, because like regardless, it will go and extend all the way to the end. Cool. So now that I created like these L-shaped splits, I can go ahead and confirm. And then I have my splits created over there. And my parts to split, I'm gonna select just the slab so we can see how it works. And when I hit confirm, now these L-shaped splits are gonna go ahead and like slice all my slabs. So I get now 4 parts of my slabs to connect with milestones, right? So let's say that this is my pour number 1, this is pour number 2, 3, and 4. So I can get now this model, this part of my model, and then connect it with this milestone, pour number 1. And then the second one I can connect with this milestone. The third one I can connect it with this one. And then the fourth one I can connect it with this one. So now if I go back and forth, you can see that all the steps of my splitting geometry is now representing those stages of execution for my slabs. Cool. So this is one great use case for the tool where you have like these big slabs, like your slab on grade, or like large areas for warehouses and things like that, because you can now extract, like for example, a QTO of this part. So if I right click on this part, go into edit beam element, I will be able to click on properties and see the volume of concrete for just that part, right? So this will allow me to plan way better, like my concrete pours and like the demand of concrete for those different areas and different stages and so on. Right? So this is use case number 1. So let's go ahead and do like a similar thing, but now using the tower structure. So for the tower structure, if I wanted to combine like these 4 breaks and like these slabs and create like a huge pour break for all of these slabs, I can simply go in and create. So I can create a split, sorry, with the parts that I already created, and I can go ahead and create a second sketch, right? But this sketch is going to represent just the split for the slabs on the towers. So one thing that is super important about this tool is that let me just finish this part. So okay, split over there. I'm just creating my splitting geometry because I want to slice this slab using this line over here. Maybe I think that this is actually, I'm going to move this to the middle of that concrete. Yeah, here it's better. So one thing that is important to know about this is that this tool is always comparing like the whole group of splitting elements with the whole group of selection. So per file, you can only have one split action per file, and that split action will combine like everything that is a splitting geometry in here and everything that is supposed to be split, and we will use that as kind of like an interface, right? I cannot select right now, for example, to have like this line 0 splitting only the P04 slab on grade, right? And it will always use the both sketches and compare it with all the items over here. This is important because if you start creating like several splitting elements, you need to understand that if there's that propagation of the plane, it might affect another part that is somewhere that you're not seeing or something like that. So it's always good to keep that in mind, okay? But Let me clear this first split that I did over here. Let's say, okay, no. So that being said, we can go ahead and just select now all the slabs that I want to split, right? I can hold control and select these slabs like this, or I can do the selection for the tree and so on and so forth. Or sometimes you can do like a small like selection trap like this, and we will like drill through everything and select everything that is beneath that small selection trap, like I did right now, right? And when I hit to confirm, we're gonna get that same kind of like splitting applied to for all the levels. But as you can see over here, this line that I created before is also splitting my slabs over here on the top, right? So it's always one good thing to keep in mind to like organize these models in a way that you can create your splits properly. Okay, so just to simplify, I'm gonna actually let me cancel this. Just to simplify my work right now on this example, I'm going to keep like just the split on the slabs, because now I want to show you how you can organize your edge protection with the different steps of your slabs. Okay, so let's see that in this milestone, I'm gonna just do it with a couple over here. So let me hide all of these parts. So let's say that in this milestone, I want to actually, let me go back over here. Sorry guys, it's just that I'm kind of like coming up with the examples as I as I go over here. So let's say that in this milestone, I want you to set up this slab to show up in this milestone, and then in the next milestone, I want to show up this slab, and then in this milestone, I want to show this slab, and then in this one, I want to show this one. Okay. So that being said, I can just go and do like a quick hide on these other guys, and then if I go back and forth, we're gonna see all those slabs showing. I'm also gonna hide these guys over here. So we're gonna see like these different slabs showing in different stages, right? So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I can also set up this guy over here to show up along with that guy, and this stairs should show up like this. So basically, we have like our steps of construction will be uh, slab 1, slab 2, then this slab, and then this slab. So that way you can define, for example, that you want to create like your edge protection for this slab. You can go over here in resources and equipment, go into safety personnel, fall protection, select whichever like edge protection you want to use. And again, like you can start your sketch on the top part of your slab. And instead of like drawing exactly what you're going to use, you can simply use the project tool, select this, and it will take that sketch of that element. And of course, it's not going to be exactly on the edge. So we can do an offset to bring this inwards a little bit. And then when you hit confirm, you have your slab protection created over there. I'm just going to make this a little bit shorter. And then you have your slab protection on this area, right? And then when you go to the next stage, you want to extend this. So this slab protection, you can either like create this in this middle part separated from the rest, or I can simply interrupt this slab protection at this stage. And when I go to the next stage, I will go ahead and do the same slab protection in here. I'm going to project the shape, and I'm going to project the shape of both slabs. And I'm going to go ahead and delete these items over here in the middle. And we've now, because you can hold control and select several points and several lines at once, you can simply do something like this. And when you hit confirm, we still need to kind of like to connect these parts. Sorry about that. And then I can just go ahead and just bring this guy down. Oh, here's the disconnection. Cool. So I can go and do this, then connect these lines. Let's see if the other end is also disconnected. Yes, it is. And then when I hit confirm, now it will create the slab protection for the other side. Okay, so I have like slab protection number 1, then slab protection number 2. And then now if I want to go to the next step, what I'm going to do is I can simply like create my slab protection on the kind of like top part over here. And then I can use the projection of the previous one on the top one, right? So when I hit confirm, now this slab protection is supposed to show up at this milestone only. Okay, so that you go, you can create like the sequencing of like safety measurements and so on and so forth, using your pour breaks, using your projections. So a bunch of like interesting things for you to create to work fast, right? And it's always good to create like these projections, like because you'll save a lot of time redrawing these shapes as you go up. Cool. Anything to add on this, Javi?
Sorry, I got to unmute. No, it looks great. I think that's a good use case, showing the safety and kind of cycle times of, say, a vertical, core or a vertical tower like this, but also lots of applications for horizontal as well. So that's great.
Awesome. So yeah, I have a question now on the queue on the chat over here that's very important. At the moment, we are not uh, retaining the split geometry whenever you update your model, right? So if you get a new model on this kind of like environment, then I update this model with like a new version. The split's not gonna go along with it, but we are working on this right now. We are gonna create that geometry, we create that ability for you. So until we post that, and one thing that I would suggest is for you to create a template of your splits using a normal 3D line. So you create, let's say, a template that you're gonna split this this way, the same way that I did before over there. So I can like snap this to this face. And let's say that's gonna be my template for this split, but I also wanna create a template, I don't know, for the amenity levels. I can do the same thing over here and then kind of like snap this. And I have like these 3D lines. I can put them, their name should be like a template split, right? And then like if I update this model, the next time that I create a split for this model, I can, instead of like drawing the lines all over again, you can always take this and you can, whenever you're creating a line, you can simply do the same thing by projecting the shape of the template. So you have those lines created for you automatically. Okay, so you're gonna need to do the tool again, but instead of like drawing everything from scratch, you can simply use these templates to slice them again. Okay.
But just to clarify, retaining those changes from model revisions is in next phase is what we're updating in the next release of this tool. So that's we just needed to get this out as is, and then the next cycle time will include that functionality. Thanks, Mark.
There you go. Exactamundo. Okay, so another use case for this tool is what happens when you have like walls, columns that you get from your Revit models, and they're all combined in like in one single object that goes all the way to the top or something like that. So usually these models they come to the GCs without splitting them by geometry. And in that case, you can simply go ahead and create a split, but now we're gonna create a horizontal split, right? So for this model here, for example, as you can see, we have these walls all combined. I can go into my split geometry tool and I can create a line now. And instead of like creating the line on the Z plane, I'm gonna create a line following an object. So it means that I can host the sketch in any face, even vertical faces. So I'm gonna create one sketch over here. And then from this sketch, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create like a horizontal line. And this line, I'm gonna extend this all the way. And this, I'm gonna now offset this by keeping the original line. And I'm gonna bring this up. And I'm gonna also bring, yeah, like these are the two splits that I need at this stage. But the easiest way for you to do this is to take that line and you can snap that line to like a surface that you know that it defines what is the elevation of that floor. And you can do the same way with this guy over here and then split this. And now you're going to create a horizontal split, right? And then from here, you can simply go and, I don't know, if you wanted to like select, let's say, all the walls from that model, right? So let's say when I click on this, part, oh, I should have selected this beforehand. Okay, so these are walls, right? or walls in their case, walls in their case. So as you can see, they're all combined into one single shape. And then I can select them all over here in this group. And when I hit confirm, now like this is going to be sliced like a birthday cake, and I have now all of these walls separated. I'm pretty sure this is going to resonate with a lot of you, because this is a struggle that a bunch of like our users have, is that they get models from consultants and the models are not split correctly, and they need to know how to sequence them. This is the way to do that. Cool. So Manny has a question over here. I'm assuming that shifting the parameters of our split edges would impact the volume of or accuracy of our sketches. Can you please explain why these shifts are being done? I don't understand exactly what is the shift of the parameters that you're talking about. So if you can describe that a little bit more, it will be easier for me to answer your question. Cool. Another big use case for this tool is to create openings for cranes, right? So if I show this whole model over here, and I want to create an opening for a crane, let's say at this location or maybe at this location. So what I do, I simply go ahead and continue with my split, and then I can add a split geometry again over here. And from this point onwards, I'm going to create a line. And from this line, I'm going to draw like a shape that is like a closed shape that it represents the opening for my crane. And when I hit confirm, you see that that shape is self-contained. So like, again, we're going to create like we're going to extend this up and down to create like a plane, a splitting geometry for those planes. And now that my slabs are already selected over here, I don't need to select them again. When I hit confirm, now I'm going to get like this element in the middle separated from the rest. So like every time that you're creating your sequencing for these amenity levels, you can just keep these parts out. And then in the end, you just bring them back again to show like that you were actually like filling them back in. Right. And it's a great tool because you can like check things like this, like how your construction analysis of like placing of the crane will impact the design, right? So it's a great way for you to visualize these elements in context. Cool. Can you rename the split elements for easy finding and organization? I don't think we can. So that's a great like tool for us to work on the next version of this tool. Maybe we can talk later, Ben, to understand exactly what we would like to do. But yes, does the split sketch snap to grid lines? So grid lines, depending where they're coming from, if you can import like a 3D geometry that shows those grid lines as a plane, you can snap them to it. But if you were working with like a drawing only, you could create those grid lines as a template, right? So let's say that I'm gonna import a drawing somewhere on this view. I don't have a drawing prepared over here, so I'm gonna just find something that should work. That's what this was a bad example because that drawing doesn't have grid lines. So let me go and find a drawing with grid lines. This one does. And I can place this drawing somewhere. Let's say here, right? And I'm just gonna reduce the size of it a little bit. So one of our recent workshops, I showed how you can create these grid lines using the 3D lines tool, right? So basically it will be the same idea, right? So you create a template using a 3D line tool, and you can draw where like your grid lines are and things like this. You can use the offset to place them on the right spot. And the good way to do this several times is just to keep like using the O key, because you can use that key to confirm the action and then start it again. So you just keep pressing it twice, right? And then you can do this, and you can do like another one horizontally and do the same vibe over here. And now this is a template that I can use these grid lines to create my split lines. Did I answer your question? So these now can be used as templates to project them up and then like it will be used like that. And you can delete the ones that you don't want, and so on and so forth. Okay, cool. So what else do I need to show about this? Let me go back over here on my notes. So yeah, and the last use case for this, it's not that common, but like you might get models where your elements in your model will be combined, like this one, for example. Like in this model specifically, all of our verticals are combined into one single shape. So if I were to use the split geometry tool, and I'm gonna start a new one because this model is already super sliced. So let's not like clear this a little bit. So I will create, let's say that all of these verticals over here are combined into one single shape, as you can see, right? So when I click on it, they are all combined like that. So I could use my 3D lines to create like a shape that is gonna be like creating like a splitting geometry that will go and like zigzag all around this thing, because it will separate these parts by with that kind of like sketching, oh sorry, with that extension of a plane that I mentioned before, right? So if I do this like that, we should get like all of these things kind of like separated from each other. And I'm let's say that I hit confirm now. So now in that level, we're gonna get like all of these columns separated one by one. I don't remember which column I selected. This one, this. Which one was it? Oh, come on. Oh, this one. Yeah, so you see, like I could do this like a better job on this, but like you see that some columns were separated from the others and so on. But you could do like rectangle like splits in each one of these columns to like isolate them from the rest, right? So it's just like I did a quick one over here so you can see. But you can also separate these vertical elements, creating your horizontal splits. Cool. What else? Javi, anything else that you wanna me to cover on this part that I'm missing over
No,
here?
I think you covered it. I think if people get into it and have questions, they can always reach out to us to help them out. But hopefully, this will dramatically improve your workflows with working with consultant models and models that you didn't make yourself, and being able to cut them up the way you need to and save lots of time.
Exactly, exactly. So this is the first version of the tool. It's a very complex tool that we've been building like for a while now. So whatever updates or like ideas or things that you want to see on the next versions, please let us know about it by going over here on the question mark and then just putting like a feature request if it's something that is like a new feature or not, a new action added to this tool, or if it's something that is not working exactly what you were expecting, you can create a bug report so we can see, we can go in and figure out what's going on.
Oh, I do have one thing just to clarify. So this is only for imported BIM models. I think you may have covered this, but we do plan to also have this for imported drone scans, like other meshes as well. So you can like do that with like if you're flying a drone to play the kind of thing. So that's also part of phase 2.
Awesome. There you go. So, okay, so the next step of our session here today is just to talk about the multi-copy paste, right? So again, this is a tool that have been requested by a lot of people. I see, I hear you saying, Mark, but this have been requested by a lot of people with like the multi-copy paste, right? So the ability for you to simply, let's say that you have like cars like this and whatnot that you wanna go ahead and place several of them at once in the same environment, you can go ahead and just like place your cars or like you can create like an array of objects, right? Something like that. You can create like one car and then another one like this. You create like a more organic parking lot or something like this, right? And now you can simply like hold control, select all of these objects, and then now you can do a copy copy, and then you can do a paste. And now I'm copy pasting like the elements as once, right? So next versions of this tool that we want to do is to allow you to also create groups, right? So we want to have that and also other multi-edit kind of like capabilities, right? So the idea is to like give you more power to work faster and more efficiently, right? So one thing about this tool is that if I have these parts combined, oh, sorry, we assign to different milestones. So let's say, for example, that I go and I assign these two parts over here to these milestone, and then the next one, I'm gonna go and assign these three to this milestone, and then I'm gonna assign this one to this. So you're gonna see that they will show up in different stages in time, right? But if I do a multiple copy paste, this will multiple copy paste. This will put all of these elements to start at the milestone that I'm active in. You won't carry the start and end dates for each one of them. So like they will be assigned to the milestone that you're active at the moment. Okay, so it's a things to keep in mind whenever you're using this tool. Again, if you want to see something different, if you want to have like the capability to do both of the ideas of like keeping the mouse, retaining the milestone connection or not retaining the milestone connection, just let us know what you want from the feature request over here on the top. Cool. Awesome. Next step is just a quick thing about our user guide structure, right? So cmBuilder is growing like crazy. We have like new users coming in every time and new companies like signing up for cmBuilder and so on. So it's natural to have like more and more new users, even in the companies that are already using cmBuilder or the new people that are coming in. So I just want to touch base on how our user guide is structured. We kind of like changed this a little bit. So basically we divided this in three different parts, right? So getting started is just like for people that literally just started with like, oh, let me show you how to get there first. So to get to our user guide, you can click over here on the question mark and then click on support center, right? Support center will open this view, and this view basically will have the all the content for like knowledge and learning capabilities that we have available today is combined over here somehow. So that first part of here, the getting started, is for you to just give it to the new users and so they can understand like the first steps and also watching the tutorials, right? So we are gonna do a huge revamp of our tutorials now to align it with the new user guide. Oh, sorry, the new layout. So expect like some kind of like minor coordinations that need to be done between the videos in our tutorials and the layouts, right? So we're gonna do this soon. And the knowledge base are for like whenever you are already acquainted with the platform, like you want to know like basically everything that we have to offer, right? So the getting started area over here is just the same as the one on the top. Company workspace is for you to kind of like know the the features and everything related to managing the company and access and users. So like in the sphere of your account, you're going to find the information on the company workspace. When you go into a project and you will see this project in here, we have like this project workspace. So this is where you're going to find like information about the like documents, project settings, overview, how to change the map, and so on and so forth. And then scenario workspace is basically everything that you need to know about this environment over here. So like working with new scenarios and the tools inside the platform and so on and so forth, right? So just keep that in mind. This is how we organize this. So like whenever you directing people to these elements to the user guide, so you can see more or less what it looks like. Okay. So this is the new organization of our user guide. Oh, and I forgot to show like in the end. Why did I sign out for this? I don't know. So I forgot to show that over here in the end, we do have like the additional resources that basically are referred to whatever is like the ability for you to book a support session, the events that we are organizing that's coming now, and the customer story. So like basically we have like a lot of customers that are providing us with their cases of success and things like that. So it's a great kind of like knowledge environment as well, because you can see how other people are using cmBuilder, and you can get inspired to apply these new actions to your workflow. I really suggest checking like Kyle's video over here on the Hansel Phelps kind of like customer story. Like he explains a lot on how he could like expand the usage of cmBuilder inside the organization and the different use cases that they have for cmBuilder over there. So it's a very good video. And in the user workshops, this is where we compile all of these things that we do, like the ones that you're watching today. Is gonna go in here, right? So just take a quick look on this new user guide, and we can jump into the tips and tricks now. So in relation to the tips and tricks, I already covered this one, which is basically creating a splitting template so you can reuse whenever you bring in new versions of your models, or like if you like want to keep a consistency between splits and different elements and so on. And I also want to talk about a new Blender add-on. This is not a cmBuilder update, it's a Blender update, but this impacts a lot of our users today that are using the combined use of cmBuilder with Blender to bring in these nice backgrounds for like your project, right? So for you to bring something like this, you like the texturized buildings on the surroundings, we use Blender to create those tools, right? To create this model. So in Blender now there's a, not now, but like it was there before, but like just recently we started using this add-on called Material Combiner. We're gonna put this in the user guide so you can like see the instructions on this. But basically, it will save you a lot of time on like the default state of this integration today, where you have to do like a bunch of clicks on replace materials, pack, repack, and split mesh by materials. Whoever used Blender before to do this work already knows what I'm talking about. So you can skip now these steps, and there's a better texture management because you actually combining your texture with your model in a very kind of like reliable way, and you will produce smaller files from this, right? So showing quickly over here what I'm talking about. This is a model that I literally just imported from Blossom, right? And this is my hometown, right? So if any of you have ever been to Carnival in my city, this is where the Carnival happens. Like it's exactly in this avenue over here, and this is like a very interesting landmark. Anyways, so the material combiner is this guy over here. So when you click on this, you're gonna see this little menu. You can click ignore most of it. Basically, what you need to do is like what this tool is gonna do is this tool is gonna take all the little images that form these textures, and it's gonna put into one single big image, and it's gonna wrap that image around your model and like assign like parts of that image to parts of your model, like different faces. So basically, the way to use it is that once you import the model from Blossom, like this, the model shows up, you can click on Material Combiner, and then you can now go into these properties over here, and you're going to change this to quadratic, to strict custom. You don't need to understand why you need to click on these things. I don't understand. I'm just following the instructions that it like makes everything simple. So basically, you're going to save this atlas with these properties strict custom to a specific folder, right? So when you save that folder, which probably is the same folder where you're going to save where is it? Desktop, Workshop Blossom. Where you're going to save this 3D model anyways, so you can create an atlas on that folder. This is going to create a list of all the little images that combine will form this texture model, and then we'll combine all of this in one single image, right? So I suggest you do this right in the beginning, because this if you start adding like splitting cubes or like other geometries to this, the material combiner is going to find like all the materials for all the elements on your tree structure, and it will try to combine them over here, and like it's going to be a little bit weird. So I suggest you hide everything that you don't want to export from your view, and then you do this action. And as you can see, now I have like one single material that is applied to all of these faces, right? So that being said, now you can simply go in here and do the changes that you want, like kind of like slice the parts and so on and so forth. So let's say, for example, that I want to remove this lighthouse over here and piss off everyone that lives in that area. I can now like I'm just gonna delete them. And when I export this, I don't need to do pack and repack. I don't need to replace materials. I don't need to split geometry by mesh by material and things like that. I can simply go on and go into my file, export an FBX file, and then that's it. I got now like still need to do like all the same instructions of the FBX export, and then now I saved a lot of time just by creating this material combiner. Okay. A lot of times as well, you're gonna have like drone scans that you import to Blender, and you want to manipulate that before you bring it to cmBuilder, and a bunch of like these different things. So you just do the material combiner at the beginning, then do whatever edits you want. Exactly, Ben. Exactly that. So if you have like drone scans and you bring it over here, sometimes when you convert that drone scan to an FBX model, the textures can be like disorganized and so on. When you apply the material combiner, this reorganize your tree, your textures and like make them really nice for the cmBuilder environment. Cool. So give it a try on this one. To download this file, you can simply, this might be bigger than Model Split. What? Come on, Dan. You're hurting me. You're hurting me. I know it's Halloween, but don't do that. Just kidding, bro. So yeah, so try this tool. It's like it really helps you with like those drone scans and these BLOSM imports. And to download the material combiner, you can literally just like search for material combiner in Google. But we're gonna create like a user guide page explaining all the steps on how to use that. Cool. And the last tips and tricks that I want to show today is that default IFC filters. Again, yes, again. The reason why I want to bring this again is because a lot of people ignore this page when they are importing new models, right? So if I decide to bring in a new model over here on my tree structure, let's say that I want to upload a file, and this applies to IFC and Revit files. So let's say that, what is it? Mm-hmm. Let me find over here, training material, what I was looking for. Okay, here. So let's say that I want to import a file and this page shows up. Don't simply hit upload on this page, right? Like take a quick look at this, because what this page is about is that you selecting which categories of that model you want to bring over to cmBuilder, in which categories you want to leave out, right? So this is quite important because it will make your tree structure, you'll make like your work go way faster and way easier by managing the parts properly, right? So I keep a default configuration of this. Once you do one configuration, it will keep that configuration for your next import. So I created my default configuration where I removed like furniture, flow storage device, a bunch of different things over here, like covering, transport element, space fastener, mechanical fastener, because all of these parts, they are parts that they do not belong on your critical path. Like most of the times they don't belong on your critical path when you're doing sequencing of structure, sequencing of like exterior envelope and so on and so forth. So it's good to keep that as a default, because every time that you bring in a new model, you will apply that default to it. The one thing that I would like to suggest you to not turn off is this building element proxy over here, because it's kind of like a very generic category for the IFC files and Revit files, in where like a lot of times a bunch of important things fall in this category. So it's better for you to keep it on and then manage them as soon as you import them, than to keep it off and then like not even see what you removed. Okay, so keep that in mind and use that. Don't skip that step. Okay, I've worked with like a lot of customers, and like I see that a lot of times they import models with like a bunch of parts they're not going to use, and this is just like noise in their simulation and noise in their process. Cool. And one quick tip and tricks over here about deleting milestones. We plan to really invest some time and like more effort on creating better tools on the 4D kind of like back and forth, like integrating schedules, integrating milestones, and managing them all at once. So this is something that we plan to do next year, where we're going to invest more time in this. But for now, I'm going to give you like some tip over here related to what you do when you want to delete a bunch of milestones at once, right? So we cannot delete like several milestones in one single action, but whenever you're deleting milestones that you're after you created like your simulation, it's good to understand three things, right? So you should use the start milestone grouping mode so you can see which parts are assigned to the milestones that you're going to be deleting. So let's say that I expand this kind of like a milestone table over here, and I want to delete the bulk excavation milestone, right? So if I delete this part right now over here, all the parts, all the resources that I imported to this scenario that are assigned to this milestone will get either deleted or disorganized, right? So ideally, what you want to do before you start deleting these milestones is taking a quick look on the grouping method for the start milestone. So when you assign this start milestone over here, you're going to see a list of all your milestones. And when you expand, let's say the bulk excavation number one, when I expand this guy, I can see now which resources are assigned to start at that milestone. So I can manage where they're going to go to before I delete the milestone, you know. So this is a very interesting way for you to keep the organization that you want and not lose the work that you've done so far. Okay. So keep that in mind. This is also very helpful whenever you import a new version of your schedule and for some reason you have like new parts over here, new items that you need to reconnect these parts. So looking at this group by over here will give you a very good understanding of all the parts that are assigned to start on that milestone. Not just resources, but also the parts of your model that you connected to that milestone, the zones that are supposed to show up in there, the 3D labels that are supposed to show up in there, and so on and so forth. So it's a very interesting way for you to make sure that you know where these elements are in terms of your timeline before you start deleting things or updating things and so on. Okay. Another thing is that if you delete a milestone in which there is an excavation operation to it, the excavation operation is going to move to the next milestone. So if you have like a bunch of them into one single milestone and delete that, all of those operations are going to move to the next one. And all the elements that have an end date assigned to the milestone that was deleted will be clear, right? So if I go back over here in a clear scenario, and I create a milestone, a fake milestone over here, like untitled milestone, and I add a cube, and I assign this cube to end on this milestone that I just created, as you can see over here. If I delete this milestone, now like this cube, the assignment for the end date for it is going to be cleared, and that cube is going to be visible all the way towards the end of my simulation. Cool. It's taking a while over here because my internet is a little bit crazy, but you can see that now this cube is go all the way to the end, right? So this kind of like assignment over here will be cleared for the resources and for the parts that you connect to that milestone. Okay, so this is everything for today. So wrapping up, we spent like most of our time today talking about the split building geometry, right? So what to do whenever you have those models that you want to split, how to use the multi-copy paste. Shout out to Mark on that. The new user guide structure, so you can like explain to your users what how to start in cmBuilder, and tips and tricks, splitting templates, new Blender add-on, default IFC filters, and deleting milestones. Cool. So this is the main part of our workshop today. It's concluded.
Happy Halloween, everyone. Bye now.